Welcome in and welcome to the Legacy Ride. We're back again. Just you and I. We're here
Yeah.
alone. It's you and me. And how does the song go? Whatever. You and me. Or I don't know. I'm not a singer. But this is the Legacy Ride. I am the legacy of Jennifer and Kaiser. I am Zachary Kaiser. It's Saturday, so I mean, you know how it is. Buckeye Zach. OHIO. And the I look more like an A, by the way. It's kind of silly. This right here is Andrew Joseph. I'd
Hey,
let
what's
him
going on?
introduce himself, but he misses the cue. He didn't there. Say hi, Andrew.
Hi, I'm
I,
Andrew Joseph.
yeah. So, but we got another one, man. There's some shit going on in the world, I'd like to talk about fucking life. Yeah,
Mm.
because the shit going on in the world is going to mess up your life. It really is. But we're spoiled red-blooded Americans over here, so we don't seemingly care about what's going on in the world because we're in our safe neighborhoods of our trailers and our picket fences and and uh our meth and our guns, our meth and our guns.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the 2A enthusiasts are actually meth heads. Those are the guys you don't want guns. Yeah. So shoot them. Advocate to defend yourself. Shoot the 2A enthusiast because most cases he is a criminal because he's a meth head that's going to blow your brain out. You blow your brains out. Excuse me. It's still early, and it feels like it's like 6 o'clock in the morning. Um,
Mhm.
but you blow the fucking brains out of that meth head before that meth head blows your brains out, or worse, gets the cops to do it. Yeah. So don't tread on me. Back the blue. Kind of stupid. Yeah. But yeah, let's get into this. Let's get into this. You know, I gotta do it. I gotta plug. I'm just so happy today, man. I'm so joyful. Uh,
So
just jumping in.
animated.
Yeah, no, no. But yeah, go to fanghornforesters.com for all your woodwork needs and necessities, your niches, your knickknacks. You can get a coaster, you can get a cutting board, etc., etc. You can also get some millwork done for you. You know, in case you need something to build, use these millwork
Mm.
for the wood. My cousin does all that. And if you also need some construction work done, he's more than willing to come to you. Yes, he is in the Midwestern United States and southeastern Indiana, Cincinnati, Ohio area. But he is more than willing to come to you if you have a contract for him because building your dreams is making him money and making the world go around. So let's start a business. All right. Let's start a business. Let's get some more competition going down. Fanghornforcers.com. That's fanghornforcers.com. Fanghorn, the leader of the Ents. You know how it is in Lord of the Rings. So I don't have to keep on saying this. So I'm gonna go off this and end this tangent. Fanghornforesters.com and let's get to the show.
What are we talking about
I don't
today,
know what
Zach?
why I was talking with my hands like an idiot. Yeah,
Like I said, you're animated. It's okay.
you're a Jew.
A lonely Jew on Christmas. Adam San Jose Crazy Nights, everybody.
Why is your no no why is your people doing this, man?
I don't know. Maybe you have some insight. I'm still working here. I'm in the United States. I'm safe in my crackhead household.
Like, yeah, crackhead household with your 2A amendments and your don't tread on me flags and your police. Yeah,
Yeah.
I got my rights, but I love a copper while he's kicking in the door and stealing your guns. Um, no, let's talk about speaking of Jews and crackheads and
Don't
Muslim
forget about the
crackheads.
debutantes.
Wow. Let's be serious here, though.
Okay.
This is a serious time, man. Um,
Yeah.
Israel's been attacked. It's their 9/11. This is what CNN and MSNBC keeps feeding me. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is their 9/11. Israel's attacked. We must defend them. We must defend them. We must fund them money and weapons, and Hamas money and weapons.
Mm.
Yeah,
Wasn't it Israel, the politicians in Israel to set this up in the first place? They were trying to divide the population.
yeah. Back in the 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah, that when Hamas was created. Oh, of course. Yeah, this has nothing to do with Palestinians or Israelis or whatever Gazanians. I don't know if you believe that Palestine doesn't exist. I mean, which it really doesn't. It's not on a map, but regardless, they're called Palestinians. Uh, the
According to
fact
the
is,
UN, they exist.
according to the UN doesn't exist.
Yeah, I know.
So fuck the UN. Um, but yeah, I mean, according to the UN, Palestine actually exists, but yet where on the map is there a country, right?
Yeah.
So Palestine doesn't exist, but Israel has no right to exist because Israel is a ethno Nazi Zionist genocidal maniacal state, basically a government.
I mean, they're all like that.
They're
It's just a
all pretty
matter of degree.
yeah. I mean, China, you better be Han. It's either Han or go home.
Mm.
Or we're gonna work you like a slave for the American corporations. There's no Uyghur genocide over there, man. Don't get your panties in a bunch over there. They're not killing Uyghurs. They need the fucking labor.
Yeah.
Why
As
would
long
they
as there's
kill
suicide
slaves?
nets.
What? Oh, the Uyghurs are committing suicide.
No, I'm talking about the people that work for Apple and
Oh,
Foxconn. They're jumping
yeah.
out of the buildings and they're getting caught by suicide nets because it's such an issue.
Well, I mean, we don't care about Apple, so fuck them. It's an Apple
Yeah.
employee, an Apple executive, I would imagine, right? Or these
No.
actual
These are
these.
Chinese slave labor camp employees who
Okay.
jump off the cliff and land in suicide nets.
Huh. Interesting.
Right.
So basically, there's your genocide. There's your genocide narrative right there that the liberal left wants to proclaim,
Hmm.
and epic times, which might as well be progressive. Yeah. It's all propaganda. Everything's propaganda. Everything's political. And one thing that's being politicized right now is this Israeli Hamas Palestinian whatever you want to call it conflict.
Yeah.
Israel's at war. Israel did get attacked by Hamas. Over 600 Israelis were either murdered, men, women, and children, elderly, were murdered and or kidnapped by Hamas. Although who knows, it was
So
probably on the
far.
spot. Yeah, but it's bizarre. It happened. You got a big giant wall right there, so Hamas figured out how to get past that wall. So Donald Trump, you're an idiot, and so are you, Joe Biden, with that wall down
Yeah.
south. So walls don't work. Um, but yeah, and now we're out here in Israel, and old Bibi himself, old Netanyahu, or as Kanye West would acquisition net and Yahoo.
Ooh.
Yeah, but he's come out. He came out and said we're at war. We're gonna hit them hard, and the United States is gonna they're gonna be there. I think we actually sent one of our largest air carriers within the next day out to the Mediterranean on October 10th. So we have what the Gerard Ford air whatever named after a president that did nothing,
Yeah.
and it's the largest. Um, so we are involved. We're involved in weapons supplying. We're involved in funding because this is the largest lobbyist group in the United States is APAC. What does that stand for? American Israel uh, Political Action Committee.
Yeah.
So I mean, so we probably fund Israel in tenfold, and like Ukraine right now is pennies compared to what we fund Israel every moment of every day of every month of every year, just because Israel is our ally. And it's uh it's terrible. It's terrible that Hamas is targeting they target civilians just like any government that attacks a supposed enemy and holds collateral damage. I mean, everything's collateral damage in their eyes. In this instance, the collateral damage is direct with Hamas. Israel,
Mm.
just like the United States would with their bombing campaigns, Ukraine or Russia, China, I mean, whatever. I mean, you you conceal it by just saying well, that's war.
Yeah,
It's a well, I mean, it was war when we dropped two atomic bombs on speaking of Japan on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. It was, I
yeah,
mean, it was, I mean, it's just a cause. It's just the rules of war when we meaning the British, the Allies, but the British and the Canadians more so, but the Americans were involved. When the British burned Dresden, Germany, firebombed the shit out of it out of existence. And I mean, you think that Germany did so many heinous things? They did, believe me, in that war. I mean, it's pales in comparison, but you're still beating war crimes with war crimes, right?
yeah,
I mean, and then basically saying, "Well, I'm the victor, so ignore my crimes." And that's what this is. I mean, Israel's gonna cry mommy when the little boy falls and scrapes his knee. In this case, the knee scrape is an attack, and 600-700 dead Israelis on that attack. And then mommy is going to uh, dress that wound, get a band-aid, and little boy Israel's right back up to shove the yeah shove the other little children down
yeah.
and insert itself as a bully. I mean, as the bigger guy on the playground, and it's showing right now because at this moment, as we record October 14th, they have they've announced on the border. They're I mean they've hit their attacks. They've been bombing campaigns, and at the moment, like I just read an article yesterday, and there's about 19,000 Palestinians dead in Gaza. You killed 19,000 civilians in Gaza to counteract the 600 that Hamas killed in Israel.
Yeah.
You doubled it, and and here's the sad part. I mean, is 600 is keep that number 600 Israelis, right? About 600 children out of that
Mm.
1900 in counting. So and it's going to count. It's going to keep on going. You got 600 children that have been murdered
Yeah.
indiscriminately by a statist, fascist, Nazi government. Yeah, I said Nazi. Israel's Nazi.
Well, think about it. It's like this. It's like you have two people. One's mentally challenged, and then they attack somebody who isn't mentally challenged. It should take more responsibility for somebody that's not mentally challenged not to react, but they're reacting. It's like beating up a
Mm-hmm.
mentally challenged person. It's just not right.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man, and honestly, the mentally challenged person in this instance would be the Palestinians because they've been
Yeah.
abused by both Israel and then Hamas. I mean, it's not like it's peaches and cream over there across that wall with the Iron Dome laying watch over said wall. Um, I mean, in Gaza. I mean, the last what, since 2007 when they gave
Yeah,
Gaza up to Hamas. I mean, it's essentially it's a prison. It is
yeah,
it's built. It's a
an
concentration
open
camp.
air prison.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, it's literally it's Israel created a concentration camp to amass these people in here. And who do you think the guards are? They pop shots at Israel every so
Yeah,
often, shoot some rockets just to show just to prove to the world that hey, we're against these filthy Jews, right? These
yeah.
filthy murderous Jews. But the guards are Hamas.
Mm.
It's an open air prison. The guards are Hamas. The people are the ones suffering. And the people in Israel are going to be the ones that suffer as well, as long as there's continued violence and it gets worse.
This is the problem with states, is that it's a monopoly of opinion backed up by a monopoly of money. If you can't say something else, then you aren't free to leave. You aren't free to express your own, community.
There's a monopoly on violence.
Yes.
Yeah. Uh,
We don't see this point of view as valid. So if you don't apply what we say, then we're gonna threaten you, and at the worst, we're gonna kill you.
mm-hmm. Well, that's yeah, yeah, and that takes me to the next segue on here. At the end of this video, everybody, please watch it. Andrew put the time and the energy in setting this up. Using it's quite creative because I mean we're old WCW fans, so but there's QR codes. Those QR codes link to the addresses of Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Monero, Dash, Zcash, at Ethereum, Litecoin, etc. Pick or choose, pick your poison. But if you could watch that at the end of this video, and donate to us, and then no, and then this is not me grifting or anything and saying pay me money. No, oh no, donate to that. It'll go straight back to us, and we will use that to figure out how we can do our part in helping the children of this world and of this country, United States, but the children of this world, especially right now in Africa and in the Middle East, and the Ukraine. But we will figure out what we can do with that money that you donate, and we will find a charity that will do some good things. But go ahead and donate. I mean, take the time, watch that, scan it. Let's do our part because the world is hurting right now and it needs help. And the only way to do that is if we love and support one another. And sadly, in today's day and age, that the love and support is financial. It's a money stake. So, but this is me like wholeheartedly saying, watch the end of our episode here and scan one of those QR codes and pay a little bit in there, even if it's like 50 cents. We'll do something with it. We're gonna do something. We're gonna pay it forward, and then we'll match that too. So
Yeah.
we'll definitely match that. So it's not like we're just saying pay us and be our no, no, we'll match you. So whatever we get donated, we'll match exactly that. So and because the world is hurting and the next generation is about to cease to exist, if we don't take action. And the only thing that matters in this world is the children. So that's it. So man, let's transition away from that. What's going on in everywhere else? We there, Andrew. Getting
Not
fucking
much.
depressing right now.
Yeah, I know it is pretty depressing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Not much from my point of view. It's been just work, 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 editing, and
Mm,
just normal stuff.
yeah, yeah. My my work wants to. They sent out an email about this bullshit, right?
Yeah,
Of course, it was Israeli Zionist propaganda. And then it said and one at the end of the email, right? It literally said like anybody overheard saying anything anti-Semitic will be automatically terminated.
yeah,
Like anti-Semitic, so I can't say anything anti-Palestinian or anti-Israel then,
yeah.
because the
So much for
Semites
freedom
are
of
Arab.
speech, right?
Yeah, but
It's
nah.
it's 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 easy, it's easy in hindsight to be against something. It's a lot harder in foresight to be against something because you're gonna be going against the trend.
You're gonna go against the communists.
Yeah,
That's the plain and simple truth. You're gonna go against the left, and they're gonna get all butthurt. And then if you go against Palestine, you're gonna go against the left. And if you go against Israel, Ben Shapiro's gonna cry on live television, live YouTube feed.
it doesn't even have any onions.
He doesn't have an audience.
Any onions?
Oh, his onions.
Yeah,
He probably doesn't have an actual audience either. His audience is probably a bunch of like 12-year-old autistic kids. There's like 15 of them. I'm not saying anything bad about autistic kids. I'm saying Ben Shapiro's a weirdo and an idiot and has no factual basis on any logic.
well, you got to think, man. I mean, it's easy to have a visceral emotional reaction. It takes a lot of responsibility to be the adult and say, we're going to take this and we're going to try to work through this.
Hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
that's a
Yeah.
lot of people showing their colors when they say, oh, absolutely, we must go and, destroy. That's not the solution. That's never
Mm-hmm.
been the solution. That's what causes more problems. It took 20 years for the United States to cool down after getting in a shit fest in the Middle East.
Mm. Yeah. But here's the thing though. It took 20 years to finally cool down over 9/11. I assume I think you were,
Yeah,
yeah, with Afghanistan. It took 20 years to cool down, right? And we really didn't. But then October 7th, 2023,
yeah,
Israel's 9/11.
yeah.
So I mean,
It's just
now
a change
now
in
we have,
venue.
yeah. So now we're involved again.
Yeah,
We're still always involved. So we're gonna have, and in order to maintain the empire, considering even Saudi Arabia's broken away from us, um, and to keep Iran in check for our Zionist Nazi friends over there,
mm.
the Euro colony of the Nazi Jews, the ones that weren't murdered. Um, I mean, yeah, I mean that's where we're at. Like, we want to maintain the instability of the Middle East is to create the stability of an American empire
Yeah.
with our satellite vassal of Israel.
I mean, realistically, how can you shut down all the power and expect people to be out in 24 hours? There's like millions of people over there.
2 million.
It's like it's like
Yeah,
that's like shooting fish in a barrel.
yeah. No, that's sad. Like, no, real. That's sad, stupid, and they know, and cold-heartedly calculated. Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, they know what they were doing. They shut off all the power, the water, everything, and said,
And
"Get the fuck out,
and
or you're gonna die."
the opposing government is like threatening the people, say, don't leave, you're not supposed, or we won't let you leave, we're going to hurt you if you leave.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get hurt either way.
Mm-hmm.
It's better for them to try to risk leaving than not.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's some people they've probably just been tied down. Well, where are you to go? They're
Yeah.
literally they're trapped in the inside. So I mean, what are you gonna do? Just keep moving, doing this little shuffle from north to south, east to west in this tiny little
Yeah.
strip? I mean, I honestly at this point
It's
just risk it all and stay. I mean, what more can you do? You're trapped. You're trapped within the wall that Donald Trump wanted to build in this country. Um,
that's the problem with walls. It may keep people out, but it also keeps people in.
mhm. The lie is it keeps people out,
Yeah.
but really, you're exactly said it. It keeps people in. It's just like the Great Chinese Wall, the Wall of China, right?
Yeah.
Like in the initial the initial phase of how China, the original, like one of the first dynasty empires of where it's, yeah, of where it is, where the Great Wall of China is, to the north. It's in like East Mongolia or whatever, right?
Mm.
Just to the south of it. It was literally to keep like the Mongols out. And there's really no section to the east because it was for the north. So
Yeah.
that a wall like that was literally to uh keep somebody out. You're talking a wall around a little sliver of land.
Mm.
I mean, it's to keep people in.
Yeah.
Gaza is not the same. Gaza, yeah, and then let's go on the wall thing with because I mean Biden has authorized monies to finish a couple sections that got stopped in the process under Trump for his wall. So Biden has effectively said there will be no wall, but he's building Trump's wall. Um,
Yeah.
so I mean, you want to build a wall south of the border, right?
Yeah.
Between Mexico and the United States. How does that work? How do you not affect nature in any way by building that wall? You're going to affect nature.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're also going to affect property rights because you're going to run through majority of it is going to be run through somebody, many people along the border's property, private property. It's not all public, and you're also going to possibly mess up the current of say the Rio Grande if when you get up closer to Texas. So unless you're going to build the wall right across the Rio Grande along Texas too, which that's just
Yeah.
stupid. That's I mean, because you're not going to be able to build it on Mexico side. You can't build it right there in the middle of the river. So you're going to have it. So you're going again. You're coming into a nature issue, a public easement issue for utilities. It's gonna mess that up. And then it's coming into an encroachment of private property, which
Yeah.
means eminent domain would have to be used in order to force people to give up a segment of their private property for this wall. And then what is it going to do? It's not going to keep anybody out. They'll figure out ways to climb it, and if they can't climb it, most come underground. And then, of
Yeah.
course, most of the illegal immigrants in our country are people with expired visas, and for the most part, most of them are from India or Poland.
Yeah. Don't forget
But
about people
brown people,
that drive on. Don't forget about people who drive under the border, like in tunnels and stuff.
oh yeah, yeah, and don't forget about the people that just drive across the border, like just through the
Yeah.
gate. I mean, and don't even get stopped.
Yeah.
But Joe Smo, I mean, could be 15 feet away from the border checkpoint, just on a little side road, and the border police will pick him up and say, "What are you doing here?"
Yeah.
Uh, Going home. What are you doing here away from the border, sir? Shouldn't
Right.
you be doing your job? But that's what wall. I mean, that's what it does. All walls do is keep people in. The wall the Berlin Wall was to keep people in Russia,
Yeah.
to keep people in East Berlin, and the same goes with the wall along that separated Germany. Yeah,
Mm.
to keep people in East Germany, in the the Democratic Republic of Germany. Weird. Yeah, democracy. They weren't democratic by all means, but
yeah, that's how it works. They say one thing, but they deliver another. It's always
mm-hmm.
how it's worked.
Yeah,
The People's
yeah,
Republic of China and the Republic of Korea. The I guess the Democratic
mm-hmm.
People's Republic of Korea. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's just like West Germany was what was it, the Federal Republic of Germany or something like
Yeah,
that. They're federalist. They were so centralized and most of and mainly ran as an administration of Great Britain and the United States. They were so
yeah,
centralized. I mean, there was no there really wasn't any self-respecting ordinance of federalism in West Germany, but they were the Federal Republic.
yeah.
So, but I mean, it is what it is. I'm not going to go into that tangent, but the fact of the matter is it's all statism is statism. They want to enslave you and murder you.
Yeah.
And how do they do that? How do they do that, Andrew? How do they make sure the cattle get slaughtered?
With hiring armed forces, police, and making sure that there's only one money supply.
Well, I mean, I was talking on the means of actual farmer, a livestock farmer.
Oh,
How do you know when you're about ready to take a cattle to the slaughterhouse? What do? Or you slaughter them on yourself. What
you
do you?
brand it. You brand it.
Well, they're already branded because they're yours. You want them branded.
Yeah.
You isolate them away from the rest of the herd and put them pinned away elsewhere. Um, until it's time to slaughter it. You want it. You isolate them. Well, that's what Israel's doing with Gaza.
Yeah.
This has been planned for a long time,
Yeah.
and they use this
It's in
Hamas thing. Oh,
it's a
go ahead.
playbook. It's a playbook. That's all it
Mm-hmm.
is.
It is. It is. So, uh, well, with that, we got a good one after this when we return. But I think it's a good time to maybe take a break, come back, and then we'll get old George W. Bush's take on this shitty
Yeah.
situation.
He's perfect knowledge about the Middle East, so he should have all kinds of insight.
Oh, yeah. So, message everybody. Message George W. Bush.
Yeah. We'll be back in just a minute. We'll let you watch that video.
So centuries ago, the Pope had armies, he had torturers, and he was engaged in a lot of things, right? Mm-hmm. Now he's got Vatican City, which is a micronation. He's got his royal guard. He's got his Pope mobile. He issues his proclamations. The Pope is not really someone that you or I are concerned with. He says a lot of things you like. He says a lot of things I like. He says a lot of things you don't like. He says a lot of things you don't like as well. The point being, he's not in a position to impose his worldview onto populations, right? Other than through persuasion and so on and so forth. If the state got to a point where, you have people who really believe in Washington and Washington saying you should do this and that, whereas we all had control over our money, that's not anarchism, but I'm fine with that. It's like, so President, McCormick said today we got to do this, this, and this. Oh, cool. That's nice. It's just like the Pope. Like, you issue this proclamation, you have your point of view. I'll take it under advisement, but I'm going to do what I want, live peacefully, and treat people well. So that is, I think, a much more realistic medium-term goal, and I don't think it's very unrealistic at all. Rather than a collapse of the state, basically a transition away from the state being a state per se, and just kind of being this organization that you can choose to pay attention to or not.
Welcome back. How was the break there, Andrew? But
not too bad.
Yeah, you go take a leak or something?
No.
Comedy hour. Oh man, it's just silly, stupid bullshit. I mean, if we don't try to laugh, we'll just start thinking. And what happens when you think?
You cry.
You cry. The next thing you know, you're loading up your you're loading up your cig,
Yeah.
Sticking it through your head, wondering,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. And then someone pops you in the back of your head twice and then strings you up and lays the shotgun
Yeah.
about
And then it's,
about 15 feet. Suicide.
yeah. Right.
Yeah. So I
And
mean,
then they find out you have information on Hillary Clinton.
I do have information on Hillary Clinton. She's a man.
Oh,
Always
okay.
was.
Makes
She was
sense.
a man. So, which kind of makes you wonder about Bill. So,
Yeah.
William Jefferson, you're a homosexual. Uh,
But he had
but
us out of debt.
he did get us now, did he? He got us into another deficit by allowing bubbles to be made.
Yes,
Bubbles.
that's what they say.
Yeah. I blame every deficit is Clinton's fault. It was a temporary relief for a long-term disaster.
Hmm.
And we're
And
here
then
and
9/11
where we're
happened.
at. Then 9/11 happened. Yeah, 9/11. Hey, you know how for the voting base, you know how you get the you know how you get people to vote for you because people are retarded. Can I say retarded?
You can say whatever you want.
Yeah, freedom of speech, mother. No, but yeah, just say 9/11 when you're giving your speech at a rally or in a debate. Just say 9/11. They'll rally
Yeah.
towards you. You say 9/11, they'll be all up on your junk. They'll want to put their mouths on your
Yeah.
yeah.
On your
But
Monica
yeah,
Lewinsky speakerphone.
yeah, yeah. What's been going on with her? I think she came back into the limelight not too about like a couple
Yeah.
years ago.
I do remember hearing something happening with
Yeah,
her, but I don't know exactly what.
yeah, yeah. I
It
think
was just
that's
a
something.
brief moment.
It was a brief moment. I think it had something to do with the Me Too, but like you've already overstepped your bounds, bitch.
Yeah.
It's done. It's over with. If you wanted to go after Bill, you should have done it within the first half of the 2000s when you could. It's
No,
a
that's bull crap. What do you think about Kavanaugh? He was well out 20 years probably.
oh yeah, yeah, but did he not beat that allegation out because he was able to get confirmed?
Well, I guess so. So
The fact of the matter is we don't know. Whatever happened, who knows? We
there's
don't
always
know.
going
I
to be
wasn't
those
there.
stragglers who want to
Yeah,
come in 30 years later and say that they
yeah,
saw them at a gas station once.
yeah, yeah. I saw you at a gas station. You touched me. I want money. I'm suing
Yeah.
you. Um, I don't think that's the way it works, but evidently that's the way the world works now. But yeah, before we get into too much shenanigans, though, we did promise to bring the granddaddy of them all, the father of the war on terror,
George
the
W.
great dear
Bush.
leader. Oh yeah, dear leader W Bush. Yeah. So you got that clip. I'd like to go over
I,
like what he
I
has to
got it
say.
right here.
This is an Axio clip of George Bush giving his take on this
Situation in
situation.
Israel and Palestine.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Here we come.
In this beautiful place, our hearts are in Israel. We saw clips of you rallying the nation.
Our hearts are in Israel.
Terrorists to strike on American soil. I wonder what were your thoughts when you heard that Israel was attacked by Hamas over the weekend?
My thoughts were that we need to support Israel. No ands, ifs, or buts. This was an unprovoked attack by terrorist people willing to kill innocent people to achieve an objective. Hamas is a political organization. They do not reflect the majority of the Palestinians. And don't be surprised if Israel takes whatever action is necessary to defend herself. And it's going to be ugly for a while. But it's tough. It's tough. And I hope and pretty confident the United States will stand squarely with Israel. going in the neighborhoods of Gaza is going to be tough. And, he's got a very seasoned military, but they just called up 300,000 reservists, most of whom probably can't fire a rifle. And to the extent they'd be put in harm's way, it's going to be awfully difficult on the prime minister. But he's got to do what he's got to do. I mean, you're dealing with cold-blooded killers. And you can make all kinds of excuses why they are, but they are. And his job is to protect this country. And anyway, we'll find out what he's made out of.
Among the countries on the axis of evil that you defined during your presidency was Iran. To what extent is Iran responsible for the...
I don't know. I don't get the intelligence anymore. Their stated objective is the destruction of Israel. That's what the leaders say. And in this world, you got to take what they say seriously. And Iran's been pretty good at using surrogate terrorist groups, Hezbollah being the key one, of course. And therefore, the idea of using somebody else to achieve their objective doesn't surprise me. Again, I'm kind of a hardliner on all this stuff, but I never thought we should try to accommodate Iran any way, shape, or form. I always felt the objective ought to be to prevent them from getting a nuclear weapon, to prevent a cataclysmic event in the Middle East. And these are the kind of people that if you show softness, they will take advantage of it. And we'll see. The United States needs to stand squarely with the president, with Netanyahu. And the administration started off on the right foot, it seems to me. Pretty bold statement, and that's good. And he's going to take some heat. Both parties have got isolationist tendencies, and we shouldn't get involved. Who cares? Well, we should. We should care. And
what does the immediate future look like for Israel, in your view?
Immediate future doesn't look very bright, particularly if you're on the Hamas side. But it's going to be chaotic, and it's going to be, look, it's a democracy, and in a democracy, the people's voices matter, and there's going to be a weariness. You watch, the world's going to be, okay, let's negotiate. Israel's got to negotiate. They're not going to negotiate. These people have played their cards. They want to kill as many Israelis as they can, and negotiating with killers is not an option for the elected government of Israel. And so we're just going to have to remain steadfast, but it's not going to take long. It's gone on too long. Surely there's a way to settle this through negotiations. Both sides are guilty. My view is one side is guilty, and it's not Israel.
Interesting. The last part right there, the fact that he goes on about there's no negotiating. They've played their cards. Maybe so. You maybe so with Hamas. That might be, they don't care. But look at it on a real sense. Look at it on a humanitarian sense, on a voluntary sense, on an anarchist perspective, one that says that the state is a monopoly on violence. The fact is, there's always room for negotiation, and I look at as violent and destructive and murderous as Hamas is. Certainly, they proved it. They proved it throughout the years that they're violent, and then they just proved that they are they're just as murderous as anybody. But the idea around all of this is because of the occupation of Israel, the illegal occupation for which the UN, the United Nations, has declared illegally sanctioned since 1967. This is at the end of the 6-Day War. They're illegally occupying the Golan Heights up north, which is to Syria. They're illegally occupying and settling the West Bank, which is to Jordan. And they are illegally imprisoning civilians, women, children, elderly, with a terror organization as their guardship inside this open air prison of Gaza. They're occupying Gaza through a monopoly on violence and walls. So I think there is negotiation, because the negotiation is leave them the fuck alone, and they will leave you the fuck alone. And if they don't, if you do leave them alone without causing ill will, like border walls and defensive, preemptive, offensively preemptive defensive weapons technologies. Wow, say that 100 times fast. You're still upholding that you're the bigger, badder wolf. You hold the monopoly on violence. They're just little piss ants. So leave them alone. If they decide to come at you, well, by all means, you have the right to defend yourself. But I mean, they attacked you this year for George Bush to say unprovoked, and for anybody to say this was unprovoked. It's like, when was this? How can you, when you're looking at this, how do you see, and I'm asking you, Andrew, how would you see this being unprovoked?
Well, I mean, it's kind of hard answer, you know. They've been squabbling for decades. How can it, you know? It's just, it's a never-ending thing.
Yeah. I mean, no, that's, you said it. Like, it's this has been going on since 1949, when essentially, because of the 1947-48 partition, UN resolution, the partition ordinance to create a state for the Jews while splitting and still having a territory for the Arabs in that area. And the fact is one thing is, you know, I mean, and this is why there's a cultural sentiment towards Israel not having a right to exist. Of course, it doesn't work with the fact that they're occupying lands that aren't theirs in accordance to international law since 1967. Of course, Egypt, because of the Yom Kippur War, and Israel kind of standing their own there, they finally granted Israel's right, recognized Israel. So I think same with Syria. But you look at the partition back in 1948 that eventually led to the Israeli War for Independence, to where they took the land that they were given by the UN. And a little of then some, but not really. They took what they needed, what they were supposed to be on. The Arabs said no. They said, no, we don't want this. We're not sharing anything. And rightfully so. This goes back to the treaties, the secret treaties that were ignored because Britain, disgusting, shrewd, disgusting diplomats that will say and do anything to get a peoples to fight for a cause that wasn't theirs. After the destruction of the Ottoman Empire, the retraction of the Ottoman Empire, these people would be left alone and allowed to govern themselves, and then they ended up not. Britain and France split it, and the Syrian territories became France, and then basically from Palestine to like Northern Arabia and Iraq became the British mandate. 1948. So yeah, it makes sense. The Arabs pretty much said no negotiating. No, we're not sharing. We were here first. They have a point. Yes, you can go back biblical into the Bible, into the historical account as well. Jews at one point were there 5,000, from anywhere from like 5,000 to 2,000 years ago. And 2,000 years ago, according to Roman record, because the Romans like taking records, and this is why we know it, they cleared out the Jews in about 130, in AD 130, like 50, like 40 or 50 years after they destroyed the Second Temple, thinking that would settle them down on being rebellious. And in about like 130 AD, they just dispersed them. They killed as many of them as they wanted. They committed genocide on a segment of the society, hoping that that would scare them, and then they dispersed them all throughout the empire and said, "You're never coming back." And this is how Palestine gets its name in the English form, because of the British mandate of Palestine after World War One, because it comes from the Romans when they kicked out the Jews, renamed the province. The province was a segment of different provinces. You had Judea, you had Galilee, you had Samaria. They clumped it all together now that the Jews are all gone, and they renamed it Philistia, or the Latin effect of Philistia. But yeah, they renamed it Philistia, or land of the Philistines. Kind of a pun, kind of a tongue-in-cheek towards the Jews, saying, "Hey, this is the land of your rivals that you fought wars over this, squabbled over land." So now let's turn to modern era, because honestly, if you go into the Bible, the Philistines, predominantly up closer towards Lebanon, which is ironic. Hezbollah, same thing. But then you have Hamas in the south. You're seeing the same thing. The Israel has been fought over for countless years, decades, centuries, millennia, over this one prized possession. Because in reality, out of the rest of the Middle East, Israel is kind of like an oasis right there on this little sliver, right off the eastern tip of the farthest eastern tip of the Mediterranean. And then you have the religious sentiment too.
Yeah. What's interesting is right before Trump got out is that he actually had, people of different countries in the region actually starting to financially cooperate with each other and trade, which would have brought more peace than probably been in a long time. And then you got this that comes in a couple years later. That's just going to kick the hornet's nest again. Yeah.
Well, no, yes, it was a temporary relief, though. I don't think it would have maintained peace, because one thing that Trump did was he moved the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. Now that angers
a lot of people.
That angers, because that's basically saying you're recognizing Jerusalem not as this international city that that it was supposed to be, but you're recognizing the illegal occupation of East Jerusalem and the West Bank and all of the occupations surrounding since 1967. You're recognizing that Israel's illegally occupied lands of the Arab peoples and their illegal settlement is fine. So this is all Israel. And so there was some anger that came about because of that move right there. And then, of course, Biden comes into office and kind of undoes a lot of what grain of good that happened under Trump, and to get it kind of back to the status quo, because I mean, Trump was a clown show, and we need to get back to the American empire.
Yeah. It's going bankrupt, but we're still going to keep chugging along on that train.
Choo choo. Speaking of choo choos, it's October 14th, 2023, and the Buckeyes will get to derail a train like the United States government in Norfolk Southern. But we will be derailing a train today in West Lafayette. So per don't going down, because I mean, you're terrible anyways. Good luck. So we have a terrible offensive line, so who knows? Maybe they'll get us, because we have a terrible offensive line. We can't run the ball.
We'll see.
We'll see. So But yeah, that I had to throw that out there when you said choo-choo train.
Yeah.
So let's derail the Boilermakers like a Norfolk Southern train in East Palestine.
Yeah.
Oh shit, I said Palestine.
Palestinians.
Mm-hmm. So, but with that, what are your thoughts on old George W? What do you think? Is he just talking out his ass, or is he finally kind of exposing himself?
Well, he did say he doesn't get any intelligence anymore, any information anymore, so he's just speculating.
Yeah, I tend to disagree. I think they still get a little bit of intelligence, but maybe they don't. I don't know.
Let's just take it at face value.
Yeah, but yeah. I mean, the fact is it sounds like he's trying to compare this situation towards what happened under his watch in 2001 when he was at the start of his presidency.
Under his night watchman state.
His night watchman state. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
It's overbearing night watchman state. I've never seen such a libertarian utopia become a neocon nightmare. Yeah. Libertarians. Let's just be straight with you. Libertarians. This is what happens when you vote.
Yeah.
When you vote for men or women that you perceive are right on the issues. And quite frankly, George W. Bush actually ran on some libertarian principles. The man was a Northeast progressive, sort of like Donald Trump, Trumpers, but you're mentally retarded Trumpers. So I kind of get it, but he's a New York progressive, not a Republican, and the Republicans are socialist historically. But regardless, George Bush ran on a platform that was very libertarian-esque. As Andrew said, night watchman government or state. Yeah. 9/11 occurs. Of course, you can go and find the document, the New American Century document, read it. I implore you to. It's very eye-opening. Kind of sets in stone like this might have been planned. Or they know that there's blowback about to appear and they're going to utilize it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying 9/11 was an inside job, but it certainly looks that way because the blowback of all our meddling caused our nation to be attacked by 20 hijackers, which weren't terrorists. They were Saudi intelligence and Mossad, Israel. But regardless, the fact of the matter is because of 9/11, look what has happened since 2001 with the United States. The freedoms that have been eroded because of the security state that has been created and the advanced federal bureaucracy that has been ultimately expanded, and this night watchman state that you libertarians perceive that would be a good thing expanded, because that's essentially what the United States was on a larger scale. But the idea of a night watchman, yeah, we did our meddling, but whatever. But a night watchman, you just want to shrink it to where we don't do our meddling. You can't shrink government. Government has no right to exist. It is people that have been given authority. You've granted them authority. They will use it for their own advantage, and they will expand their power to rule over you, because that's how government works. So you libertarians that want a night watchman state, you will never see that if you are ever successful in an election, especially on the federal level, which that's not happening. You're not going to shrink the government, and if the government somehow does magically shrink, it's going to expand.
Yeah.
So so libertarians, quit the party, and become anarchists.
Mic drop.
Coffee break. Full stop.
Yeah.
So I forgot to say full stop. So, but yeah, there you go. So George W. Bush deserves another shoe thrown out of for that one, in my opinion. He's
But I
just
want to
simply
have all my teeth broken.
Yeah, he ducked. He was a good ducker. I think he could probably still duck, even at 77 years old.
Yeah.
He's getting up there, almost 80. So yeah, no, but yeah, no. I think George W. Bush, he literally, he was just in that clip. He said some decent things to say, I guess, in correspondence towards sipping for Israel.
Yeah.
I also love how he said that Hamas was they're terror people. First off, he said terror people, everybody. Terror people. That's funny. George W. Bush, still grade A comedy right there, buddy. Still, yeah. Still grade A. I'm surprised he did say, did he pronounce it terrorist? I think he did.
I believe so.
So yeah, grade A comedy right there, W. You can't even pronounce your shit. But yeah, I love how he said that they were murderous people, and then proceeded to say Israel has a right to defend themselves, and defend, because he did this, defend the notion that it's okay. It's collateral damage. It's okay to kill civilians as long as it's a bombing campaign that you're detached from. Yeah, and it's just collateral damage. I think I think the Nazis were the same way in those concentration camps. It's okay. We've detached ourselves. They're not human beings. They're subhuman garbage.
Yeah. Layers, man. The more layers you put on, the harder it is for you to realize it's cold.
Yeah. So, and not only that, but the more layers you also put on, probably the more that you're trying to conceal, considering the fact. Let's go David Icke on this bitch. Concealing the fact that all these politicians, all these political rulers are reptilians.
Yeah.
Oh, hail David Icke. Still love you.
I'm trying to take the skin off, but it won't.
You're a reptilian? No, you're not a reptilian.
I know.
You're a
I'm an otaku.
He's an otaku.
Yes.
He's an otaku.
I'm a geek. So. A nerd.
He's a fat guy. He's
Hey,
Batman.
I'm trying to lose weight. I'm fat man, that's right. I'm fat man wearing a Batman.
So, but anyways, what anything more to convolute there, Andrew? Get out. How much time we got?
We got 8 minutes and 47 seconds.
Well, one more thing now. One last question for the listeners and the viewers. So if you watch this on YouTube, drop a comment and answer if you'd like. And also subscribe to us on YouTube and like, of course, and then hit that notification bell if you subscribe, so you can get us. Let's build an empire of liberty, as Jefferson would say.
Yeah.
But one last question: are we closer to World War III?
I mean, we've been inching, according to the propagandists, we've been inching towards it for years.
There is propaganda, but are we ever so closely now? Because you have China and they're menacing all accordingly their expansion to the South China Seas and the standoff with the United States. Their threats of formally taking over Taiwan. The United States saying we'll defend Taiwan militarily. which is worse than the Ukraine situation. You have Russia and the Ukraine conflict. You now have the Palestinian-Israeli conflict that has hit a boiling point, and it is now overflowing. So, and you got all this chaos all across the world. I mean, so is it safe to say that we are potentially on the verge of annihilating ourselves?
I believe we're probably inching towards it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a safe assumption.
Yeah. So, do you think that we'll be able to pull ourselves back?
I would hope so.
Sane people. We don't really have any sane leaders, but seems like in the West they're really, really into fulfilling this what do they call it? This agenda 2030 ordeal. So they really want to just go full blown one world government communism, and then you got the other authoritarians across the world that say no, we want our regional authority, and then you got people that are actually rising up and saying no, we got rights.
Yeah,
it's a powder keg.
We've already kind of got a global communist system with the International Monetary Fund and central banks all over the place. But that's
the
more
creature
covert.
from Jekyll Island. Go ahead, Andrew.
That's more covert than overt.
It is.
The overt part's cultural Marxism.
Cultural Marxism. The old what do they call that? The old Frankfurt School of commies.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So cultural Marxism will never truly succeed. It's just basically it's to force you into submission, and then the government will come in and kill all the trans people because they don't want them. They want to separate you. And what did I say, Andrew? Isolation of the cow for slaughter. They isolate you from the group, and then they go for the kill.
Yeah,
and that's what they're doing with the cultural Marxism stuff, and they're separating the weak from the weak. The stronger weak are the ones that have capitulated to the government, because the government will maintain them for the time being so that you hopefully wither away. So this is why it's best for you to sustain for yourself.
Right.
So, and learn how to be sufficient in every facet of it, and be your own bank. So, but with that, because we don't have that long, so let's go ahead and wrap this up. So this has been another episode of the Legacy Ride. We got a little too serious, and we got on the fucking foreign policy, man. I mean, I don't, and it's just a sad state of affairs. Geopolitical sphere of things is disgusting, and statism is such a disease. But with that, go ahead.
It's a poison.
Mm-hmm.
Poisons everything it touches.
Mm-hmm. So with that, he is
Andrew Joseph.
I am Zachary Kaiser, Buckeye Zach, as Andrew would refer to me as, because hold on. O-H-I-O. I am the legacy of Jennifer and Kaiser, and we're here to build legacies, and we want to send our message out here, because one thing is we may be called the legacy right, but he missed it. But you have legacy rights, and one thing about that is those legacies are the next generation. So let's build a better world for the next generation. Your brothers, your sisters, your cousins, your children, your grandchildren, your great grandchildren. Let's save the world through one little message of a miracle. And let's do what Jesus did. Do unto others. Yeah. Do unto others as you would want others to do unto you. So, what would you want others to do unto you, Andrew?
I would want them to help invest and make me a better person.
Yeah. So, and yes, will be praised. And let's hope for a better situation. So let's close out this very depressing episode of the Legacy Right, and we will be back with something that's a little bit
more interesting, a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly. So, but we figured this is what we need to do. Everybody else is doing it right, and the corporate press are a bunch of liars. So let's get it. Let's get a better perspective.
If you'll excuse me, I had to go jump off of the top of a building.
I'm not paying him, so he's slave labor. We have suicide.
I'm going to China next week.
I am China, and he is my Uyghur slave
comrade.
For Apple and Nike.
Okay.
We're all commies, but we brought in a bunch of private corporations. Does that make us fascist? I don't know.
Certainly, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Fascism's kind of changed over the years.
Yeah,
I don't think
the
it
third
means
way and the fourth way, huh?
The third way and the fourth way.
Yeah.
So I prefer the third way.
The third way, yeah, it's a good way to have spaghetti.
Hey, four way is not bad, man. Good, yeah. If you want some beans, but three way.
Okay.
Skyline time. We're from Ohio, so yeah.
Forgive us.
Yeah.
Well, until next time, it's been a good episode. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you later.
Peace.
Bye.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Gene Okerlund, and I'd like to welcome you to WCW Nitro.
You know, brother, you think you got what it takes to beat Hollywood Hogan, watch him climb in the ring and try out the largest arms in the world. Oh, stop.
You want to wrestle an inch more Ric Flair, you gotta be able to walk that out and style and profile. Woo! You really think you're ready for the You really think you're ready for the Scorpion Deathlock? You think you're ready for a fatal encounter?
This is why they call me the total package. Do you have a pain threshold to withstand the butcher rack? Let's find out.
Hallo, hier ist Alex Wright. Wenn ihr High-Flying Wrestling Action wollt, Spinning Sidekick, Top Turnbuckle Dropkick, dann nehmt mich. Der Sieg ist euch sicher. Versprecht euch.
Oh yeah! Watch the flying elbow drop off the top rope. Not only beat people 1, 2, 3, but I hurt him real bad.
It only takes one of 1,000 holds. I think you're man enough for the challenge.
You better be ready to wrestle, because you know, when you get in the ring with Eddie Guerrero, it's going to be high-flying and exciting.
Hey, anytime you feel foggy, man, I'll slap on the buzz killer and rip your shoulder right out of socket. Wolfpack style! Hey, funky boy. Like there's a choice here? Good God! Pick the man with the plan. Pick DDP. Hey, all you suckers out there. You wanna play the game? You wanna play with the big boy? Put your feet on the button, cause when you go down 110th Street, it's gonna be on like neckbone, sucker.
This is Booker T from Harlem Heat, hardcore OG brother from 110th Street. The minute you pump, got the guts to step up to the plate, push the plate.
Yo, Chico, you selected Scott Hall? Get ready for a wild ride on the outside. Hey there! How'd you like to get power pop? Come on, pick me. I'm begging you, pick me. Please pick me.
You think you got the courage to step in the ring? I think you're gonna wind up with a snap neck with a choke slam.
Technical wrestler, high flyer, brawler. Don't matter what you consider yourself to be. When you're in the ring with the crippler, you're a loser.